Hey guys, we just got back from a crazy Christmas week at Disney World, and even though we will have vlogs that'll come out in a few months, we wanted to give you basically a synopsis while it's fresh in our head of exactly what we thought of it, what it was like, and would we do it again. So stay tuned.
So we flew down the day after Christmas and we came back the New Year's Eve.
Yep. So the 26th through the 31st.
Yeah, big mistake. I mean, flying down the day after Christmas. So we had a delay, a 2-hour delay getting out of our airport just because there's so much air traffic in Florida.
Yep.
So that was a bummer.
And I think that was probably people leaving Florida.
Yeah,
would
probably
be my guess, because I think a lot of people go the week before Christmas and then they leave the day after Christmas.
Our flight was full though, both ways actually. It was full both ways. So we flew Southwest.
Yep.
So we got there, what time did we get there? Like
it was pretty late because
5 o'clock?
Excuse me. It was pretty late. I think it was after 5 by the time we finally got there.
So we stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter. Awesome resort. You know, check the other video for a review on that.
Yes, I will put a link. I believe it's over here. It might be over here, but I think it's over here.
So the crowds. So of course you probably, if you've never been, you heard rumors or stories. Oh, it's crowded, crowded. Yep,
it's crowded.
It's crazy.
It's crazy crowded.
So we're there for 5 full days.
Yes.
5 full days, and we only rode 1 ride. Now we could have rode other rides, or ridden other rides. We had fast passes, but we didn't really want to bother with the fast pass lines because, like, for example, one day we're outside of Rockin' Roller Coaster, and the fast pass line actually went all the way to the touch point at the fast pass, gate or whatever.
Yeah, so he's not saying it's past that. When like takes a long time for people to scan, he's saying after you scan, that line was all the way back to the touch point. And the same with Peter Pan. We saw it one day. In fact, that's on one of our one-take vlogs that I'll try to put up here as well. We saw the Peter Pan fast pass line. It went all the way back to Mickey's PhilharMagic. So fast pass is a moderate, depending on when you're there, it may not be so fast. Is it faster than a 2-hour wait for Peter Pan? Sure, but it may be a 30 to 40 minute wait even than the fast pass line. So also the other reason we didn't do it is we just didn't want to be on a schedule because we were mostly there to see the Christmas decorations, the holiday storytellers at Epcot, the holiday food at Epcot, go to the resort, all the resorts, and see the Christmas trees and gingerbread houses. So we didn't want to spend all our time on attractions. Since we're fortunate enough to be able to go more than once a year, we just wanted to focus on Christmas. So
average times on the standby lines for the rides seemed to be around an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yep.
I think that was
And
average.
We saw it over that frequently as well, over 2 hours.
Yeah, so yeah, we weren't definitely gonna do that. So it's like Buzz Lightyear, the Raceway, they all had these long extended queues like out into
way outside the building. Yeah, and zigzag queues.
Yeah.
Well, we even saw People Mover with a line like that one day that went almost all the way back to Space Mountain.
So People Mover was the only ride we rode that week.
Yep.
And
we got lucky. One morning
it
was 5-minute wait.
Yep.
So we hopped on.
Let's see what else. So crowds, so parades. We caught the Christmas parade at Magic Kingdom.
Twice.
And the crowds were just like packed in, on the sides of the sidewalks, and we got lucky to walk right into the hub. Had a good time. Hub it's kind of far from the parade, but you had a big space.
You had a barrier between you and the parade, so you could actually see. And you never think of the hub being on a hill, but it actually kind of was, because I'm short, and from that vantage point, it was slanted slightly down, and I could actually see the parade. So that was awesome, and that was just chance. We weren't even trying to see the parade. We just happened to walk up when it was going on. So that was lucky.
So that was cool. And that day I remember we were trying, so as soon as the parade ended, we were trying to catch the magical, the express
bus, which we also did a review of, which will be here or here as well.
Which I recommend that
during busy times.
During the peak times, yeah. So once the parade ended, we needed to get across Tomorrowland and back towards Buzz. and it's just like a sea of people, just like.
I'll try to put a clip while we're talking here of that sea of people.
Insane. And so we're like, oh, we're gonna make the bus because the buses are on set schedules for the express service.
Yeah, and we barely made it in time because of the crowds. It was crazy.
Yeah. What else? The Epcot. So the holidays around the world. That was pretty neat. I like the Storytellers.
The Storytellers are fantastic. They have some amazing cast members. My guess is they're some type of actor because they really, really put on a great show. Really into it. Like
the guy in France. Definitely.
I think they were all great. I really enjoyed every single one. Like I was surprised about how much I enjoyed the Japanese one, which you missed. You weren't there for that one. She was fantastic, and I actually learned some things I didn't know too, which is always fun when you learn something different. The food we were less excited about with the holidays around the world.
Odd. It's hit or miss. It was like a lot of like sugary sweet drinks like cocktails and coffees.
But hot. They were all hot. Remember we kept saying I don't want anything hot because it was like in the mid 80s and high humidity.
I don't think we tried any of them, right?
No, we didn't try any of the drinks.
The food items, I got the cheese fondue. I loved it. I would definitely get that again. What was the other one? The catfish.
Which you liked.
Catfish on grits. I think that was all I had. I think those are only 2 items I could have. Actually.
I only had, and I had the same issue. I only had 2 because there were only 2 that were gluten-free. I had the, I forgot what it's called, the pork dish. It was in the Three Kings.
I forget what it's called.
Sorry, I don't have it in front of me or I would give you the exact title. It was okay. It was pork on yucca, with green bananas in some kind of a sauce. It was not bad, it just wasn't great. Both times it tasted like it had been, well actually the second time I sent it back. The first time was okay, but it still tasted like it had been sitting under a heat lamp for a while. It wasn't fresh tasting.
It wasn't like Food and Wine where they're constantly moving the food through.
I think most people were not going to those booths despite the crowds. Yeah, it was really weird. And that's the other thing, they're not Food and Wine samples, they're full size. And it's also full size price there. They're like $13, $14, not overpriced, just it's a full meal.
I think mine
price.
was like $8 to $9.
You
because it wasn't meat. Yeah, it wasn't meat. And then the other thing, they had all the booths with desserts, which I'm not really a big dessert person.
And none of those were gluten free, so I couldn't try those.
Yeah. And even the specialty items at the Joffrey carts were all
hot.
Coffee drinks.
Yeah, and we don't do coffee drinks. Neither of us like coffee. Also, I tried the tamale, the same location, the Three Kings, and it was good, but again, not great. Neither one of those for me were a repeat, like something I'd go back and get again. But I mean, it's not supposed to be Food and Wine. You know what I mean? I think it was just supposed to supplement the quick service because of the crowds. My guess is that's what they were going for, but what I would really like to see them do different, I don't care about the food that much because you can go to quick service, that's fine. I wish they would add some cold cocktails that didn't have coffee. It felt like everything was hot and everything had coffee. They did have some hot cocoa ones, but then those all had peppermint schnapps, which I also, neither of us like at all.
And Germany had no beers.
Yeah, Germany had no beer. They had glue wine, but they didn't have any beer, which was very odd. Glühwein?
I don't know.
Sorry if you're German, I know we're probably making you laugh really hard right now.
So I guess the short of it is, would we go down there for, at this time again for the holidays around the world? Probably not. Yeah, like we always make, as you know, we make special trips for Food and Wine and the Flower and Garden.
But we wouldn't go for this food, not at all.
No.
I mean, not even close.
No.
But would we go not Christmas week, but another week while the holidays around the world are going on? Absolutely. I would go back, not soon, but I'm saying in the future, I would go back. It's usually after Thanksgiving that the Storytellers start up and the Candlelight Processional, which we didn't do this trip, we'll talk about that. But I would definitely go back to see the Storytellers, but not for the food.
They were entertaining. I really liked the guy in France.
He was.
He did stand out.
Well, he even improvised. That's what impressed me. This kid ran across, you'll see it in our future vlogs probably, cut like right in front of him, and what did he say? It was he goes, he said it's a stage he's at, or a stage he's going through. That was it. It's a stage he's going through. So he made like a pun on him running across the stage. So I was really impressed with him because that means he's not just regurgitating something he memorized. He's actually, you know, coming up with material on the fly.
So Hollywood Studios looked awesome. They had a bunch of retro, what we call retro,
40s era Christmas decorations. A lot of the tin colored foil, aluminum, you know, colored. It was really cool.
It was really neat. We really didn't spend much time there actually. Did we just?
We went in and looked at the decorations and left.
Because so the express bus over started at 10. We got there at 9. I guess that's what time the park opened. I don't know.
No, the park opened earlier. We were just taking our time getting there.
So we got there at 9, and then as soon as the express bus service opened, we were there to get out, and they were like confused while we were leaving because everyone kept asking, "Why? What are you doing?" Yeah, somehow we just came here to see the decorations, which were awesome.
The decorations were worth the trip though, even though we didn't stay for anything else. But also that park felt not the most crowded. Magic Kingdom was by far the most crowded, but it was the second most crowded feeling because there's so little to do there. So I think everybody's just kind of crammed in the middle because they don't know what to do and the lines are so long.
Well, you can't, and also you can't spread out anymore down the streets.
Streets of America. Yeah, well, we even noticed that when it's not crowded, it feels tight now because you, like he said, you can't circle around the back through the streets of America. You're forced to go through the front and that way, or back and that way. So it causes sort of a, and they do the Star Wars processional up and down the main drag, as well as that Star Wars show right in front of the stage. So that again, it's a cool show, but it creates a traffic jam as well.
Animal Kingdom, it wasn't really decorated, right?
It was minimal.
They had the big tree.
It was minimal and it fit the theming because we saw these really cool decorations at the Dawa bar that had these little people. They had theming appropriate decorations, which I was actually pretty impressed by because they could have just gone traditional and thrown it up there, but they did something pretty unique.
It's kind of camouflaged, right?
It was, because we were like, oh, are these Christmas decorations?
Wait a minute, that is Christmas because that looks like Santa.
Yeah. So, but that was cool, and we also got to meet Mickey and Minnie in their holiday outfits. I don't know if they'll do this in future years, but this year that was the only place I know of, besides when they randomly show up at resorts, that you could actually get both of them together and in their Christmas outfits. I think it's one of the only places you can get both of them together, and then it's the Adventurers Outpost, and they had these cute Christmas sweaters and Christmas outfits, so that was really fun. And also the other meet and greets at Animal Kingdom, they also had holiday items, like Baloo and King Louie had scarves on. Again, I think that's the only part where they sort of themed it. I know they had Santa Goofy, where Santa was meeting at Disney Hollywood Studios because Santa had already flown back to the North Pole.
Of course.
So, because it was after Christmas, so they had Santa Goofy in his place, and we didn't do that, but he was there. But other than him, I think most of the themed characters that had a Christmas theme were at Animal Kingdom. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if they'll continue to do that, but we loved Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, we went there twice, right?
Twice in a row.
Had a good time.
It was more relaxing because it felt like
we found a bench near Harambe Market and just hung out there and chatted some people up, you know.
Yeah, it was nice. And in order of crowdedness, Magic Kingdom was by far the most crowded. I mean, so crowded. It's just hard to quantify. Again, I'll try to put some shots in
every time we went to Magic Kingdom. I just wanted to get out. I mean,
it was just crazy. And then Epcot would be the second most crowded. There were periods where it wasn't bad at all, but there were other times we were there and it was pretty packed. It was sort of hit or miss. Then I would say then I would say Hollywood Studios, and then I would say Animal Kingdom for crowdedness.
And then Disney Springs. We went to Disney Springs one evening and that was a mess. That was a mess.
That's the understatement. That was misery. It really was.
So first of all, we're at Port Orleans, French Quarter. We're like, do we take the bus or do we take the boat? Anyway, I'm sitting there thinking, well, the boat seems long. The bus should and I'm thinking the bus should just be a straight shot. So let's do the bus. Mistake. That was a big mistake. So we get on the bus, packed already. And then, of course, the bus goes to Port Orleans, what's it called? Riverside.
Which it was not doing that for the park, so that's why we didn't know it was going to do that.
We did not know that.
And it got stuck in traffic once it got to Disney Springs because of the Christmas
car
crowds.
Traffic, which the boat wouldn't have had any traffic.
The boat would have been so much better. And in fact, we took it back, and the boat was nice coming back. But once you got there, though, you could not move. The whole place was just wall-to-wall people. And so we fought the crowds all, and it felt like fighting. I mean, we're not literally fighting, but it just was tiring. And we fought all the way to the east side to see the Christmas tree trail. That was disappointing. I'm not saying it's terrible or anything. It's nice they did it, but the trees are tiny. They're smaller than our tree over here that you can't see next to Brian.
They're about that size.
Our small tree. Yeah. They were tiny.
I think in the video I actually stood up next to one and went like around this thing's so tiny.
Yeah, he could hug it. And also it was about the same height as him. They were really small. But
they blew fake snow
and the theming was really cute.
I mean, it was nice. I mean, would I have made a trip for that? No. So we went there for the tree walk and the drone show.
Mostly the drone show.
The drone show was canceled, so we didn't get to see that. And there's a whole story about that, which we won't go into.
Which you'll probably see on the vlog, because I may cut a lot of it out. I was not a happy camper, but yeah. Anyway, that got canceled, so it ended up being a total bust, and the crowds were just terrible. So our advice, if you're gonna go to Disney Springs during the holidays, at least pick a weeknight. Not Thursday, that was Thursday night, but pick like a Monday or Tuesday is what I would say, so you might not have any locals. Yeah, we don't know for sure.
Live through our mistakes.
Yeah. And also just assume it's gonna be crazy. Just mentally prepare yourself. I don't think either of us it was worse than Magic Kingdom, and I don't think we expected that. I don't,
because of the fact Disney Springs is free to get in, free to park, free to get into. So
yeah, but it was just we didn't even go in any stores because you couldn't move. Like, it was just crazy. So yeah, Disney Springs that week, thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down.
But Magic Kingdom was truly magical, and what's really cool is that week, and I believe the week prior to Christmas as well, I can't say that for certain, they bring out all the same stuff that you normally have to pay to see at the Christmas party. So we got to see the parade. If we had so desired, we could have seen Holiday Wishes. We got to see bits of the stage show. They have the Mickey stage show that's Christmas themed.
That was actually cool seeing it from the railroad station.
Oh, you were talking about the castle lighting, which we also saw, which is different. That was really cool. We stood up at the railroad station, and there's only 2 really good spots on either side of the Christmas tree. The tree's in the way, but we got a really great spot. We got there like 30 minutes, which isn't that early, before the castle lighting, and watched that from there, which is really nice. So anyway, Magic Kingdom to me was pretty magical, and that made the trip worthwhile because we didn't have to pay the almost $100 a ticket. I know it's not quite that much, but it's close each. And it was crowded, but it didn't feel that much more crowded than the parties. Around the parades and stuff, the parties are pretty packed too. It was a little worse than the parties, but...
Well, it was pretty bad because we periscoped it. We tried to get up towards...
Well, I filmed it too, so I'll try to put a little of that in.
We tried to get up towards the castle. The furthest we could make because of the crowds was on the outer rim of the hub from the railroad station towards the castle. So.
That was the day before New Year's Eve. So it wasn't even New Year's Eve. It was the 30th. And it was just crazy. Yeah. It took us about 20 minutes to walk from the front of Main Street to the edge of the hub at the end of Main Street. It was really crazy. But again, I think it was fun. I enjoyed seeing all of that. I enjoyed all the Christmas atmosphere. And
so food, this is kind of funny. Food, we usually, I think every trip now we use Garden Grocer.
Yes.
Just
highly recommend them, and we do not get anything from them for saying that. Yeah. They don't even know we exist.
Get water, we usually get water, cheese, nachos, maybe some salsa, hummus, that kind of stuff.
And we bring our own crackers because they don't have good gluten-free crackers.
Yeah, well, they charge a lot for the crackers.
Some stuff is, I don't know, they also only have one brand of gluten-free and they're not good, so we bring that with us.
So we ordered a lot of food for this trip because we thought it was gonna be like the zombie apocalypse at the food places. Like, be lines, like crazy lines. We'll never get food, and we're just like saying, okay, we'll just go back to the resort and eat there, and then go back out.
Well, that was my fault because I had read on message boards, oh, quick service is horrible, the food courts are horrible at your resort, and that wasn't true at all.
No, not true. We had no problem getting food. I mean, it was like...
Now we're talking about the resort, in the parks. We checked a couple of times though, and the quick service still didn't look that bad.
We never did eat quick service in the parks.
Never
really,
did.
No.
Never did.
But we did check in a couple times. I said, I'm curious, let's go check it out.
It was no worse than other times of the year that we've been.
Yeah.
I think the difference, same with the bag check, I actually thought the bag check and the ticket lines were better than other times of the year that are less crowded because they had everything fully staffed. And I also felt like the bus service was better. I'm not talking about the express bus, I mean the normal bus service. They had so many buses running, so many bag checkers. Yeah. Like they would have 2 bag checkers at one table, so they weren't alternating side to side. And so I never waited more than like 15 minutes in a bag check line, which I've waited up to 35 minutes. That was back in April. That was the longest I've ever waited for a bag check.
Then at Magic Kingdom, they're trying to funnel everyone through the metal detectors, which was chaotic, but...
Because they didn't have enough metal detectors to handle that many people.
Other parks are fine, I would say. Yeah, they're fine. So we covered food, and let's see what else.
The things that surprised us the most, I think, were the lines for the bathrooms.
Oh yeah, wow.
Those were the longest lines we waited in for anything. Now keep in mind, we didn't do attractions, so those would have been longer. But I waited at least 20 minutes one time to go to the bathroom.
Well, that shows you how many people are in the park. Yeah. So the men's restroom actually had a line out the door. So that will tell you, because you never see that. And
the women's a lot of times was out the door and sort of all the way to the end of the building and around the corner, depending on where you were. Animal Kingdom had the worst bathroom lines. I don't know if they don't have enough bathrooms there. I've never noticed before. But for some reason, they were terrible, especially the Harambe one. Yeah. We finally learned to go to Asia to use the restroom because there weren't bad lines. There was still a line, but it wasn't. Harambe, if you're familiar with that building that the restrooms were in, it's right where the singers perform. The women's came out, went all the way to the end of the building where they served the Dole Whip, wrapped around the corner to where you couldn't see it. So it was crazy.
Another indicator of crowd levels were every time we walked around, it seemed like rope drop just happened. Yeah. Like we were
even when we were nowhere near rope. Right. We never did rope drop.
Like we were in the herd, rope drop heading to some attraction. It felt like that every time.
All the time. Yeah, all the time. And I think that's what eventually by the end of the week started getting to us. For me, the first few days, no big deal, but then after you've been there a few days, it starts where the crowds start, at least for us. If you're from a big city, it may be no big deal to you, but for
I don't know, because I remember someone on Periscope asking about, well, how does this differ from New York City? Because we just went to New York City. New York City, everyone walks in a uniform, orderly fashion, which is
they really do, and kind of briskly too.
Whereas at theme parks, people are like going all different directions.
Oh, and they're stopping and backing into you to take a picture. I got stepped on like so many times, and he got injured.
Yeah, I got cuts and bruises.
He got cuts and bruises because people aren't watching what they're doing. They're too busy looking at the sights and all the Christmas stuff. They're not doing it on purpose, of course, but he got run over by a stroller, or was it a wheelchair?
A child pushing a wheelchair.
But a child, not an adult. And that cut his ankle really bad. It was bleeding a lot. And then a lady who was an adult fell into his side and bruised his side.
I don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, he was just sitting minding his business.
I was trying to get out of the crowds. That's funny. That's a funny point. I was trying to get out of the crowd, sitting on some ledge by myself. I was just getting some phone time in, and then out of the blue, I get boom, from the side. Like, what's going on here?
I didn't get any cuts or bruises, thankfully, that I know of, but I got stepped on repeatedly. I don't know if it's my height or what, but I had so many people back into me and like crunch my feet. Like really, you need some steel-toe boots when you go during this time.
So weather. I know weather will vary, from year to year. But this time we had, I think, started off with 3 days of like 80 degree weather. The first day for me, I was melting. But I think by the next day and the day after that, I was fine.
Which I was the opposite.
She was melting the entire time.
I was kind of okay the first day, and then the second 2 days I was super hot. Like one day I almost overheated. Like and I think what it is here, it's so dry, the humidity is down, and it's been really cold here. That when we went there, my body just wasn't acclimated, because we were there in June with 115 heat indexes, and I handled that better than these 85 in December, which makes no sense. But then the last day
was high,
super cold.
High of 60
well, not
degrees.
cold, but I mean, if you're outside all day, it's chilly.
It's high of 60. Started at
in the
45,
40s.
I think, in the morning. Yeah. So that was a cool day.
When the high for the day dropped 25 degrees from the day before, so that's drastic. I mean, that's so you have to dress for everything. We learned that one other trip. We went in 2014 and hit some super cold, unexpected, it was November, and hit some crazy, that was actually colder. It was just a weird freak occurrence. The highs were in the 40s. That was crazy. And so you have to pack for everything this time of the year. I think that's a hard part. You can't even trust the weather because it can change. A cold front can come through and it changes everything.
So I think in summary, would we do this again? No. No.
But do we regret doing it? No.
Not at all. Not at all.
It was worth a once in a lifetime experience.
We knew going into this it was going to be crazy
we did.
and chaotic.
We were mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, crowds are going to be insane, and you know. But yeah, like Carmen said, we were glad we did it. We had the opportunity to do it, so. Yeah,
we were lucky that way, and I mean, I would never say never, but we certainly have no plans to now. And I'm going to make myself sit down and watch all our vlogs of this week before I commit to doing that again so I can remember what it was like. It was crazy. I would say if you really want to see the holiday decorations, try to go the first 2 weeks in December.
Yeah.
They're not light, they're just way better than this. The last 2 weeks of December plus this week are kind of crazy, and the week of Thanksgiving is kind of crazy. So my advice would be the first 2 weeks of December if you're wanting to see, because everything is out by then.
Yeah, actually the day we flew out, they started doing phase closures, park closures, so. Magic
Kingdom had a phase close, which means they let certain people in, but not everybody, at noon the day we left.
Yeah.
But it did not actually close for capacity any of the days we were there.
But if you're the type of person like we are, that you're just curious to see what it is for yourself and experience, definitely do it, because it was an experience.
I would say though, unless you have patience for really long lines, don't plan to do a lot of attractions. Maybe just your 3 fast passes and that's it.
Do resorts, maybe do some dining at resorts, and just go to see the decorations.
Oh, and that's another thing I would recommend is have at least one ADR a day. He's not big on that, but it was so nice to me to get out of the crowds, sit and relax. I had seen that advice and I think it's very good advice. It's just like you've gone in a little bubble for a little while and you're away from the craziness.
Especially if you go to Tiffin's, because that place is deserted.
It was empty on Christmas week.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy. So yeah, those would be my tips, but if you're really into attractions, don't go this week. I think you'd be, unless you have the patience, you know, infinite patience, I think you'd be miserable. Plus you just couldn't get that much done. So if you're one of those, I want to ride, just don't go this week, because you won't be able to do that. And the fast passes are gone. It's not like where you use your first 3 and you can get a 4th. They're all gone. There might be like Muppets left or something like that you don't even really need a fast pass. Remember that one day, first thing in the morning we got to Animal Kingdom, the only fast pass available was It's Tough to Be a Bug. I checked just for the fun of it.
I thought you were gonna mention the Hollywood Studios, the Beauty and Beast show. Remember they're giving out free fast passes, trying to funnel people into that show.
Yep. Which was kind of interesting, because usually that show has a long wait, but I guess
people were trying to do rides, I guess. And then shows later.
But yeah, they were yelling that we're giving out free fast passes for the Beauty and the Beast show, because I guess it wasn't filling up that day, which was kind of interesting. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
There you have it.
I hope this was helpful to you in your planning, or if you just wanted to hear what it was like. Yeah. And these vlogs will be coming out later this year in 2017, so you'll get to see details of what it was like. But we wanted to do a synopsis while it was fresh in our mind before, because we've only been back a week, so this, you know, is hot off the press, so to speak. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you liked watching, please subscribe below. We appreciate all subscriptions, likes, shares, and we especially love comments. We like to hear from you. Do you have any questions about Christmas week we didn't answer?
Definitely.
Leave them below and we'll do our best. So thanks for watching. Bye. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
I think that's over.